Hello and welcome. This is for 8th grade English Language Arts. It is a lecture series to help you learn the standards. Please have paper and pencils ready to take notes. Let's find out what we're going to learn about today. Today we're going to look at a standard for the Oklahoma Academic Standards 8.2.W.1. Notice the W. That means this is a writing standard. We're not going to do writing today, but we're going to learn a method for applying components of a recursive writing process for multiple purposes to create a focused, organized, and coherent piece of writing. Let's break that down what that means. If you do not live in the state of Oklahoma, you can use the verbiage within this standard to find the standard that corresponds to your state. So let's look at the recursive writing process. While you're in school, you will be given a prompt or an assignment. So the first thing we need to do is we need to read that prompt to understand what is being asked of us. We need to break it down and make sure we fully understand exactly what the teacher or prompt or test is asking for us. Then we need to decide the purpose. Writing involves 4 very distinct steps. Sometimes you might think, hey, they asked me to write an essay. I'm just going to sit down and start writing the essay. That is not the process that we're talking about here. We're not talking about writing in your journal, writing in your diary, or writing a letter to a friend. We're talking about doing a recursive process, which means first we read the prompt very carefully, decide the purpose of the prompt. Then we're going to do a pre-writing strategy. Then we're going to write a draft of our paper. Then we're going to revise our paper. And then we're going to edit it. Does that sound like a lot of work? It is. But to be a master writer, you need to be able to follow those 4 distinctive steps there, that recursive process. Sometimes when we're revising, we may even have to come back to the pre-writing step so we can develop the ideas that we have. In this particular video, we are going to break down our purpose of writing. Let's get started. When you were in a younger grade, you may have learned how to get pi. You are writing for different purposes. You may have learned persuade, inform, and entertain. But now that you're in 8th grade, let's talk about getting pied. More purposes than just those 3. Consider your writing, whether it's to persuade, inform, explain, entertain, or describe. Please pause the video now and write down the acronym PIED and what each one of the letters mean. Okay, let's break it down. Persuade. The author wants to convince you to do, buy, or believe something. We have some examples here: a speech, advertisement, sales ads, or political campaigns. Please pause your video now and write down what persuade means. Inform. Informing means the author wants to give you information to learn. Some examples would be newspaper articles, dictionaries, documentaries. Please pause your video now to write down the definition of inform. You can write down 1 or 2 examples for each item hereafter. Explain. The author wants to tell you how to do something or how it works. We use this method of reading quite often in our daily lives. How often do you read directions or instructions, how-to or recipes? This is one of the methods of writing that most people use on a daily basis. Please pause the video now to write down this definition and a few examples. Entertain. The author wants to amuse you. When we say amuse, it could be something Scary, that's entertainment to some people. It could be something funny. That's entertaining to some people. The bottom line is they want you to enjoy the story. So some examples of that may be poems or comic books or plays. Please pause the video and write down the definition of entertain and a few of the examples. Describe. The author wants you to visualize something by using sensory details. What are sensory details? Details that help us to see, feel, hear, smell, taste. They can describe things so that we can put them into real-life examples. An example of some of these writings may be product descriptions. Have you ever seen a product description that describes the orange flavor of a cereal and how it describes the tanginess? That is a sensory detail. Please pause the video now to write down the definition of describe and a few examples. So now we come to the recursive process. Now that we have learned exactly what our purpose is, we have read the prompt in detail, now we're ready to begin writing. There are these stages here. We want to do pre-writing, drafting, revising, editing, and then finally we will publish. Please pause the video now to write down these 5 major steps of recursive writing. There are a series of writing videos on this YouTube channel about each one of these steps in and of itself. Please take the time to watch each one of these videos to learn how to do the process for pre-writing, drafting, revising, and editing. Please practice these skills and then take an assessment to ensure mastery of that skill with your teacher. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you enjoy the following videos for the recursive writing process.